fights to get in. And next, a youngster gets out of the car on the left to try to stop the other vehicle forcing its way in, but he fails and the car is actually pushed out of its space. Quite incredible. Well, the woman trying to shunt the car out of that space was Melanie Andrews. She was convicted of dangerous driving. She'll be sentenced later today. The person on the receiving end, Julie Brown, she joins us along with her son Dominic, who you saw there trying to stop the car being pushed out, and psychologist Ros Taylor. Good morning to you all. Could you believe what was going on there?
No, it was totally unexpected and not the sort of thing you would expect to happen at all.
Now, just to explain, you'd actually been waiting for that parking space, hadn't you? You'd been waiting for about 5 minutes. The car went out, you went in, and at that point, this other woman came in and thought that she actually deserved the parking space, so she decided to force her way in. Yeah. At this point, Dominic jumps out of the car, is that right?
He tried to get out of the car and then decided to get back in again.
Right. So, Dominic, what were you actually going to do?
Well, when I got out of the car, I thought that was going through my head, just to speak to the woman and to stop her from pushing our car out of the parking space.
Oh, right, so you were going to go and say to her, look, excuse me, I'm sorry, we've got this parking space. So, meanwhile, what's going through your mind?
Well, I thought when she realised that I was in the space, I thought she'd realised her mistake and reverse. And yes, that's what normally would happen, isn't it? But she had other ideas and she wanted the space.
And she was incredible, wasn't she? And what happened after she'd got into the space? What happened then? Did you just drive off or what? I mean, what happened then?
No, she walked off to get a parking a ticket, yes. And I just stood there because I knew so many people had rung the police. I thought, we just wait for them to come and let them sort it out.
And is that what happened?
Which is what happened,
Which is what happened. Ros, this is an incredible situation, isn't it? I mean, it's a real... it is parking rage.
Yes, it is. I believe it was Christmas, wasn't it? And I think that strange things happen to people at Christmas. Not only do you have your normal working life to get on with and probably a family to run and all of that, but you've got Christmas presents to buy for people who are probably not that thankful for them. So all of that is kind of accompanying. However, it doesn't excuse it in any kind of way. It just kind of explains it. And I think over the last, even 2 years, I've noticed in companies, for example, huge amounts of stress, demands put upon people doing more than one job because everybody else is off with stress, they're ending up doing 3 jobs, and the pace of life just literally goes on and on.
So is it a case of actually going off and getting anger management, perhaps?
Well, yes. I mean, I think people can actually do this themselves. You know, a kind of deep breath and counting to 10 still works. And I think one thing that usually helps me in these situations, not that I try and get somebody's parking space, but is to say, look, how important is this? You know, if I'm 5 minutes late, is it the end of the world? And I think we really have got things out of perspective nowadays.
It must have been, it must have been quite scary at the time, wasn't it, though, when you were being pushed out by somebody who was obviously quite angry? Presumably you could see her face at this point.
Yes. She was very cross, yes. Well, it was not knowing what she was going to do next, I think. And we were sitting in the car, obviously, at the time, because I had my foot on the brake while she was trying to push first time. And it was...
and what about now, then? I mean, what about when you go out now and you find a parking space? Do you just pop into it like the rest of us?
Well, you're very much aware of what could happen.
So you think twice about, and you check around to make sure that there's nobody else.
You're always sort of waiting to see what's coming around the corner, yes. Yeah.
And Dominic, you were presumably greatly relieved to see the police arriving, were you? Yeah. That must have been incredibly difficult. Is there anything society can do to help this problem? Because actually it's not just parking rage. I know we've seen parking rage, but actually road rage is on the increase. I mean, I've seen it. You know, you make a silly mistake and, you know, and you sort of go, sorry, and people just sort of... They're apoplectic behind the wheel.
Yes, well, at least you know that you're relaxed and they're having their first heart attack at the traffic lights. But yes, I do think we need to slow down. And I think companies have got to take some responsibility. I mean, I do stress audits all the time and try and speak to people saying, look, you cannot impose this. And really the major piece is that when we get to that stage of anger, we're not functioning properly. I know you tried very hard to kind of remonstrate with this woman, but I mean, she was beyond it at that point. So we're really not functioning well. So we do have to slow down and calm down. It's not so much that we're rushing around, it's just we've forgotten how to relax.
Well, we're looking very relaxed on the sofa here, aren't we? Rosie, Ros, and Julie and Dominic, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
Almost 6:25 this Friday morning.
Inside and took the only free space. She was also banned from driving for a year and ordered to retake her driving test.